3:34. Anyone who's going to come in can come in. We need a quorum of, what is it, 5 for this committee? We have 6 here, so we do have a quorum for this committee to meet. So thanks everyone for coming. Just note to anyone that may be watching this video, the Mayor Pam Mood, she's on the road. However, she is listening in and she'll be able to speak to us if she has something to say. I've already mentioned that she can just jump right in if she hears a break, although that's hard sometimes with a bunch of politicians. So item number 2, approval of the agenda. Is there any additions to the or deletions to the agenda as circulated? Hearing none.
So moved.
Moved by Guy. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Nicole. Motion on the floor to approve the agenda as circulated. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Item number 3, approval of the minutes, the meeting minutes of March 16th, 2021. You all had those in your package. Is there any errors or omissions in those meeting minutes? If there's any, speak up. If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as circulated. Moved by Guy. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Steve. Motion on the floor to approve the meeting minutes of March 16th, 2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion carried unanimously. Item 4, subcommittees, new build subcommittee. You have in front of you the recommendations. I do believe there was 3 of them that come from the new build subcommittee. I'm assuming everyone sees those, and what is the wishes of the committee? Guy, go ahead.
Move to approve the minutes, I guess you'd call them, of the subcommittee.
I'll second that, the recommendations.
Thank you, Nicole.
The recommendations, there was 3 separate recommendations. I'd prefer that we have each one done individually. The recommendation of the new build subcommittee. You want me to read out the first one so we
Sure.
can? All right, the first recommendation is, it was moved by Warden John Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Gildares, to recommend to the Mariner Center Expansion Steering Committee that we decide on a final dollar figure for the expansion project that all 3 municipalities are comfortable with once the 3 CAOs work together to provide some background work on this matter.
So move.
All right, moved by Guy, seconded by Nicole. Is there any discussion on that motion? I do have one thing that I wanted to bring up in this. So by passing this motion, as you all remember, Mark Brophy gave us a presentation on the order of magnitude in that regards to give the CAOs direction to follow the order of magnitude so that they can come back with a recommendation to this committee. So are you all comfortable with that? Trevor.
Yes, I'd just like to say the presentation was excellent, and I am comfortable with that dollar figure. I think it's reasonable and presents the best way forward.
Yeah, and there's also an order of magnitude on things that were of the utmost importance, and then follow down. Go ahead, Nicole.
Thank you. I think for me, I'm going to speak for myself. The part about the recommendation about the 3 CAOs coming back to us with numbers, and like, we have to look at how this is going to affect us over time. We know we're not putting all this money up front, and that's the important piece for me. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for, to see what it looks like long term.
Okay, is there any more discussion from any committee members? Staff, do you have any input? Duran?
Yeah, just to build on Nicole's commentary, Mr. Chair, and that's specifically, yes, there's the sticker shock of a single dollar value, but you want to see it broken down over the years that the community is going to be contributing over time, and that's an important number as well to put beside it. Okay.
Madam CAO.
female CAO in the fracas, I'll assume you're talking to me, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Don't want to make any assumptions for Jeff and Alain, though. So when we originally put our proposal together for government, we felt a little bit of a sense of political urgency, that there might be a slim window for some funding opportunities. And I hear what the elected officials are saying about having good numbers to base decisions on. What would it look like if an order of magnitude was agreed upon by the three councils in order to complete the funding application? My concern is, in order to do the analysis on what the feasibility for fundraising is, what the residual unfunded municipal share will be, negotiating the governance and how we'll share that money, that rightly so has to be done, and it takes time. We kind of have, you know, information from the provincial government that there's political talk in the air about election, and getting our proposal in somebody's hand is really important right now. So just wondering what the elected officials think about balancing that data-driven, evidence-based decision-making with our political reality, and, you know, is there somewhere we can meet in the middle so we don't lose an opportunity?
Committee members? Nicole?
I still need to see numbers. I can't make that decision without knowing how it's going to affect the bottom line over time. I really need to know that. To me, I know we mentioned in the last meeting, don't be afraid of that big figure. I'm afraid of that big figure. I really am. And if it can be eased for me with it looking better over time, then I would feel more comfortable moving forward until I see that. That's my opinion. I just don't feel like I can take the next step until I see that.
Guy?
Again, on my end, I'll echo what Nicole said. I know what you're saying, Victoria. I know what you're saying, absolutely, and we need this to move this, but I have to know numbers. I'm like Nicole, this is what will make my decision a lot easier, a lot better. Thank you.
Mayor Mood?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I lost you.
So is there any more comments or concerns? Alain, go ahead. Then Trevor.
Thank you, Warden. Yeah, so the CAOs have not had the opportunity to crunch the numbers as of yet. There'll be a variety of scenarios that would have to be determined with some assumptions associated with that. So because there's a lot of moving parts, I mean, we can assume that it's going to be at the order of magnitude that was presented. And so if that number is uncomfortable for one or all, or two or all, then we have to make some decisions as an elected body. You have to make some decisions as to what doesn't get included if that number is too high. So we will certainly endeavor to do that. Like, so we'll put together something that would be first at the tri-municipal level, which is to say this would be the municipal component. And then we would attempt to break that down. In absence of an agreement of how that gets broken down, we'll do the best we can with that information. So there's still some elements to iron out. I think CEO Brooks's point is valid that if we're going to put an application in, that these things have to move fairly quickly. So we will commit to giving you that detail as quickly as possible.
Trevor?
Yeah, I understand certainly people's wish to have some additional numbers, but I think that CEO Brooks' comments are very much germane. I think we need to move this project ahead quickly, post haste. you know, let's get the numbers around us and commit to the project, 3 councils. I think we can do it as a region, you know, reasonably easily. We've got about 25,000 people in the area, and it's a good size project for that size community, for our size community. So looking forward to getting those numbers and having an agreement on the move forward. So those would be my comments to this point.
Is there any more discussion on the motion on the floor? Any other staff comments? If not,
Question.
Question being called on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? I do believe that motion was carried unanimously. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. All right, with second recommendation, it was moved by Warden John Cunningham and seconded by Mayor Pam Mood to recommend to the main committee that the 2 wardens and mayor engage with the provincial and federal elected officials to refresh the project with them and reconfirm support. What is the wishes of the committee?
Mr. Chair, I had trouble hearing that. Could you repeat that?
Yep, it was moved by Warden John Cunningham and seconded by Mayor Pam Mood to recommend to the main committee that the 2 wardens and mayor engage with provincial and federal elected officials to refresh the project with them and reconfirm support.
So move.
Moved by Guy, seconded by Trevor. Is there any discussion on that motion?
Question.
Question being called on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion carried unanimously. I'm assuming, Steve, that you were taking a drink of pop. Yeah. It shows I am watching. All right, the third.
Just trying to get that in.
Yeah. The third recommendation that come from the Center New Build Committee was, it was moved by Warden John Cunningham and seconded by Warden Danny Muse to recommend to the main committee to merge the New Build Subcommittee into the main committee and cease subcommittee meetings unless needed for a specific purpose.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved by Mayor Pam Mood, seconded by Deputy Warden Nicole Albright. Is there any discussion on that motion? Guy.
Does this, just for my clarification, Victoria Pierce had Vicky had kind of had to rewrite that a little bit. So that means that if that new build subcommittee, if they want to merge into the new committee, but if something happens, they can join again and discuss stuff. Is that how I'm understanding this, John?
It was, go ahead, Gil.
Yeah, I think what the intention was that it would be an ad hoc committee. So it would meet when required or if required.
Thank you, Gil. That answers my question.
And to add to that, there was always a big complaint that this whole process seemed cumbersome by the terms of reference that was put out there. So this would take away one of the layer of meetings that we'd also have to attend. However, if the main committee, or sorry, the new build subcommittee did need to meet on a specific purpose, then we would meet. But it's from my understanding now that after that first motion was passed, that when the CAOs get their work done and have the figures in front of us, instead of going to the new build subcommittee, then coming back here, then being ratified, if it's agreeable to this committee to move to council, it would take away that new build subcommittee. That was my understanding of that. So it's taking away one layer of red tape, which I hear quite a bit about lately. So someone correct me if I'm wrong on my assumption on that. I made an assumption today and it didn't make me look very good.
You're looking pretty good now.
Yeah, we'll see.
Question?
Question being called on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion carried unanimously. All right, item number 4.2, Bridge Subcommittee. There's only thing there is the meeting minutes of March 9th, 2021. I'm assuming that we need to just need to ratify those meeting minutes from the Bridge Subcommittee. So is someone willing to make that a motion? Moved by Guy. Seconder, seconded by Trevor. Motion on the floor. Is there any discussion on those meeting minutes of March 9th, 2021 from the Bridge Subcommittee?
Question?
Question being called on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion carried unanimously. Item number 5, is there any new business? Hearing none. Item number 6, date of next meeting. We've been usually holding these meetings every 2 weeks, or unless something come up from the Bridge Subcommittee. Any members of the Bridge Subcommittee, when is your next meeting? Is there a date there?
No, we were hoping we didn't need another date based on our recommendations. Oh, you said the Bridge. I thought you said
the Bridge Subcommittee, because I'm kind of hoping they're going to meet, because usually, since today is the 30th, the next meeting scheduled from my standing, I think would be April the 6th.
What would the Bridge Subcommittee have to do? At this point, the bridge work is being led by Mariner Center. So I think we're kind of waiting for their report back.
Exactly.
So this committee here, I guess it's TBA at this point, but maybe we should schedule one in, though, at least a month from now. Because the next one would be April the 6th. What is it, Trevor?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I sat on the committee, and CEO Gushu is quite correct. So certainly the chair of that committee should call the meeting when we've got some work to do. And again, that's essentially become an ad hoc committee in many respects. Without being an ad hoc committee and formally, its work will be that way, because again, the Mariner Center board and staff have taken over the near-term work on the bridge.
Yeah.
So,
yes, go ahead,
Deputy Warden and Mr. Chair. So I've been observing this, and the approvals have gone through the councils, and I believe perhaps the CEOs can add color here. Our board chair, the Mariner Center Board Authority, is rallying to get a meeting together this week on this very topic. And I believe it's to accept the request. And last I heard, there would be some form of outline of that request. And is it a mandate letter, or maybe the CEOs can speak to what that process looks like, and everyone here can be a little clearer.
So I'll start, gentlemen, and maybe you can fill in.
I say that because we have a lot to do, and outside of that meeting, that's sort of that's our starting line. Once that board accepts the work, then we pull the trigger on the work, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Yep. So, Mr. Chair, the 3 CEOs have collaborated on a draft mandate letter, and I think we're about ready to make that available to the chair of the Mariner Center board to support his conversation with his board, and it speaks to the direction that the Bridge Committee received.
Okay.
So ideally that conversation or that board meeting happens this week in the interest of time. It's just a matter of finding time in people's schedules.
So I guess the next date, then maybe we should schedule it for something like April the 27th. However, I'm absolutely willing to call a meeting if something comes up in the meantime. So I guess we should at least pencil it in for now. So I'm putting out the suggestion of April the 27th. Is that all right?
Mr. Chair, and Mr. Chair, if I could, you know, when the CAOs get numbers ready, we may request something sooner than that. I think Alain has started the work. We just need to put a fine point on some parts of it.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm certainly willing to call a meeting if needed. So, and that's of course, if we can pull up a quorum, but since there's 9 of us, it's a little easier now to pull a quorum up than it would be with 6, like it was previously. So I guess we'll pencil it in for April the 27th, tentative. And if there's no other agenda items, which there isn't, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Deputy Warden Nicole Albright, seconded by Deputy Mayor Steve Barry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Jeff and Alain, can you just
Thank
stay
you.
on for a second?
Sure.
I've got you now. I don't want to let you go.